what you have to understand is that aviary is related to not just the root which will mean birds, but also the root which is a base for flying. So whenever you are thinking of this particular root coming in any word, you're thinking of something that is flying. और इसकी वजह से you will be thinking of aviation, you'll be thinking of anything related to planes, anything related to air-based things. So it's very easy to confuse apiary and aviary. So please pay attention. API is for bees and AVI is for birds. So a place where you keep the bees is apiary and the place where you keep birds is aviary. So this was about different places. There are other words that you can find that will be for places as well. But these are some of the ones that we are covering right now. Then come to the second idea, which is about God. So this route we have done before. We are going to just go over it quickly and we are going to look at the words which are related to it. And it shouldn't be very confusing because direct root is being used. The spelling is also not changed much. Only one single change you will be able to notice. Sometimes the word is used as theo, Theo. So the form that changes is O and sometimes it becomes I. So in atheist or theist, it will become THEI, and in theo, it will become THEU. So that is the difference because of the roots that you're combining it with. That's the only thing. So theocracy, atheist, theist, theology, theism, monotheism, polytheism, wherever you see this theo root or thei root, you know they mean something related to God or something related to religion. It's not necessary it is going to be God only. It can be also regarding the religion. So when you say theocracy, now cracy is a root we will cover in the next few slides also, where we will talk about crazy being related to ruling. So when you think about that, that is like a type of government that you're talking about. So when you talk about theocracy, government by God, that is not possible because God is not going to come and create a government. So
by
by
religious class.
correct. So by logical sense, you will understand it must be talking about the religious heads or the people who are working for the religion. So theocracy becomes that. So use your logic also in these places, and then you will be able to understand the meaning. Then coming to atheist, negative prefix a, wherever you put it, mostly it will change the meaning of the word into a negative word. So when you say someone is a theist, you mean that person believes in God or believes in religion. Whenever you say a person is an atheist, you mean that that person does not believe in God or religion. So that is what atheist becomes, opposite of a theist. So this is about this. And then coming to theology, we have learned that logi stands for study of something, and theo is coming from the, which is God or religion. So theology is simply speaking study of religion. Theism is being religious or believing in God. When it comes to isms, any kind of ism that you're looking at is the belief, or you're looking at a kind of understanding of something from that point of view. So whenever you think of isms, these are related to the words that you're looking at or the roots that are given in front of that. So basically the idea is it becomes stronger, the idea which is presented in the first half of the word whenever you're using ism with it. So when it comes to monotheism, that is the belief that mono meaning one, the meaning God or religion, and ism meaning belief. So belief that there is only one God. So belief in only one God is monotheism. Same way, polytheism. Here, what you're looking at is the belief in multiple gods. Poly standing for multiple. We have seen this root in also words like polygamy, monogamy, etc. So there you will be able to think of this idea. Now coming to related concepts. Now, here we are not looking at something that is directly coming from the root thei, but we are thinking about the ideas which are related to the religion or related to God. So when you look at apo, Apo root means something which is away from or something off the course of what we are considering. So when we are looking at state and apo, over here, state is not the kind of state that we believe in right now, but it is just simply speaking to take a stand on something or think of that particular thing as being the belief system or being something that you support. So when you are thinking of apostate, then that means away from the belief. So you are going away from the belief that you probably had earlier, or you're away from a belief that is popular in your society or where you are coming from. So an apostate is a person who goes away from their religion or who goes away from the beliefs of God that he used to have before. So this is why this particular word stands for the phrase a person who is away from a stand or
Ma'am, can you explain this word again?
yeah, sure. The roots over here in this particular word are two main roots that you have to think about. Apo means away from or like off that course. Okay. And then sta. Sta is coming from the idea of state. So when you think of state, that is something which is fixed. State is something that you believe to be in that particular area also. If you think of the word that is being used nowadays. So here the word is coming from the root sta, which means firmly believe in that idea, firm about that particular point. That's why when you combine it, apo being the negative word and sta being the positive part, so it becomes negative of that. You are going away from that belief that is already there. So you're going away from the religion that you were once following, or you're going away from the religion that everybody is presenting to you. So if a person who's, let's say, following a particular religion today, like Hinduism, goes and stops believing in it after a few days or something, then that person would be an apostate for Hindu religion. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, from this particular root, apo, we're looking at other words that are coming. Here, what we have to think of mainly are that we are not looking at all of these roots coming from the idea of religion, but we are combining different roots over here. So all of these words are going to be from different things. So it could be about geography, it could be something related to the phonetics or the way you speak, and it could be about emotions as well. So when you look at something, let's look at the word which is very common, which is apostrophe. So when you use apostrophe, then you're basically using it to replace certain letters in the word. You're making the word usually smaller, or you're thinking about the so whenever you're using apostrophe s, you're talking about using is, or you're talking about someone's possession. So an apostrophe is a punctuation mark used to replace missing letters for contraction. So away from it. So the idea over here is that you're breaking it away, and that is why apostrophe is coming from this particular root. Then apocenter is away from the orbit or away from the center of anything. That is apostrophe. Apocenter is usually referring to the orbit away from the center of gravity. But apart from that, if you're using this word in any other sense, it will mean away from the center of anything. Then apostasy comes from apostate, that word we just covered. So apostasy is the belief or the renunce, like getting away from religious beliefs. You go away from a particular religious belief, that is apostasy. This is more like a state of being that was about the person who is leaving religion. Then you're looking at apocope. Here, apocope is basically when you're thinking of speaking a particular word, you cut the final sound of the word. You are not speaking that particular word completely. You're just quickly speaking. Like when you listen to people who are using English as their first language, you will find this a lot in their pronunciation. They're quickly speaking those words, so they're not speaking the words completely. So the final sound is not heard. Then apogee. Over here, you're looking at the state when the moon is the farthest away from Earth. So here, the moon is something that is further away from Earth. So G part is coming from away from, like, so G part is coming from the moon being away from Earth, and Apo is coming from away. Then apogamy, over here, when you think of apogamy, gamy we have done already. Earlier also I talked about monogamy, polygamy, all of that. So gamy stands for uh,
Marriage.
marriage, correct? So when you think about apogamy, here you're talking about no marriage happening. It's away from marriage. That's why this is reference to a word which means development of an embryo without fertilization. Now, this is not directly related to the idea of away from marriage, but it is roundabout about it. So it's not happening from the usual way you will be seeing a marriage and then the process of reproduction and everything. So this is why this particular word is like this. And finally, apology is uh, a little hard to understand sometimes why apology is like this. So logi is study and apo is away. So the idea over here is that apology means that you are studying something and then you're going away from that. So after studying a condition or something that you have done, you're taking a stand and you're going away from the stance that you had earlier. And you're saying, okay, I'm not the same person who had done that mistake. Or even if I am the same person who's done that mistake, I stand from a different, like I am at a different point now. And I believe that what I had done earlier was wrong. That's why I'm away from that now. So that is why apology is considered to be coming from this particular root. It's very roundabout, it's not direct at all, and that will happen with a lot of root words. Finally, apocryphal. Over here, we are thinking of crypt, the root, which is something which is hidden. So apocryphal is away from something which is hidden. So something which is off hidden. So something which is completely confusing for someone. You cannot think of it being genuine. That's why apocryphal stands for any statement which you do not think is genuine, which you do not think is true. Previous word was apostate. This one. Okay. Now we're coming to pan. Pan is the root for all or every. So everything when you are considering, then you will root pan. You'll use the root pan. And when you combine pan with the, what you are going to look at is pantheism is the idea that all that is there in the universe is related to God or related to religion. So this is the idea when you think about pantheism. So here it is defined as a doctrine which identifies God with the universe or regards the universe as a manifestation of God. So basically, it says that God is universe and um, basically the universe is formed because of God. Another way that pantheism is taken is that because God is all over the universe, so it should be covering all the religions, and that is why they will believe in all different religions as well. So they will believe in all gods that are there in all different religions. So they worship and they are tolerant of many, many gods that are all over. Then coming to the root cracy, which we talked about earlier when we were looking at theocracy. Cracy is simply speaking the rule or government of a state or any country. So when we are looking at this particular root being used with any combining root like Kakis or Oklo, Pluto, Gyne, over here, we are just going to think about the first root and we are going to combine it with the idea of government. So when you use kakistocracy, the simple idea in kakistocracy is coming from bad. So the government by bad people. Here the root is kakos, which is also used in when you have calligraphy, you also have cacography. And when you talk about sounds also, there also you'll be using this particular root. So when you talk about calligraphy, that is beautiful handwriting. When you talk about cacography, that is handwriting that is hard to understand, handwriting that is bad. Can you guess the meaning of ochlocracy and plutocracy? Just try it. It's okay.
Ma'am, plutocracy means government by affluent people.
Plutocracy means government by affluent people or people who are rich. So,
Autocracy means old person ruling.
correct. Ochlocracy means government. No, no, ochlocracy doesn't mean that. No,
Ma'am,
that,
that's gerontocracy.
that is gerontocracy. Correct, correct. Ochlocracy means government by the mob. Mob as in you are saying that like
Crowded people.
rowdy people, the people who are just taken over, like they have taken over because of the popularity, and they do not have any kind of uh, what do you say? They don't have any kind of qualifications to be involved in the rule. Okay, so they are just doing that because they're popular and also because they have just taken over the power by maybe sometimes power or pressure, anything it could be. Okay, it is very closely related to anarchy. So when you think about mobocracy, that is also very close to this word. So you can use momocracy and ochlocracy very much like each other, very slight difference in both of them.
Ma'am, I didn't understand the meaning of autocracy.
Ochlocracy, let me explain. So you understand mobocracy?
No, I think these both words are same meaning, right?
They're very similar. So ochlocracy is usually like when you are thinking of mm,
Ma'am,
mob.
when there is no rule of law and people generally take everything in their hands.
Yeah, so people just take everything in their hand and they think of like anarchy and ochlocracy. Anarchy is mobocracy. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
So when you think of ochlocracy, that is also one form of mobocracy. And but here you have these people coming in power because of the popularity that they've had in the masses. Usually the masses are not in
Like
their
the actresses when they become politicians.
kind of like you can say that, but like not exactly because they're but yeah, you can say that to a certain extent. Like they
Oh,
don't have the right to be the government power, but they come to power because of being popular in like the
okay.
wrong kind of crowd, and then they have a lot of support like that. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Then we were looking at plutocracy, right? Plutocracy is simply speaking when rich people are ruling. And then gynocracy. Gynococracy, can you guess? Here the
Ma'am,
root
by a woman,
by a woman,
woman or a
woman head in power, you can say, right?
yes, ma'am.
So here, like you can also think about not just one woman in power, but you can think of like many women in power. So gynecocracy could be that. When you think of the Amazonians, there you can probably think of this particular root be useful. Also, you can call this gynarchy also. So archy also is related to government or rule. So gynarchy, gynococracy are interchangeable. Then we're looking at Thelatocracy or thalassocracy. So this is basically related to this particular root, thalasso, thalato, which basically means related to the seas.